If you want to change your life, you must first change the way you think about money. You see, most people are raised with limiting beliefs that keep them broke, not because they aren't capable, but because their minds have been trained to repel wealth. They've been told that money is the root of all evil, that rich people are greedy, that having too much means taking from someone else. But that's not true. Money doesn't corrupt, it reveals. It amplifies who you already are. If you're generous, it allows you to give more. If you're disciplined, it rewards your structure. Money is simply a tool, and like any tool, it depends on the hands that use it. When I was young, I worked hard but never seemed to move ahead. I used to blame the system, the taxes, my boss, even luck. Then I realized the problem wasn't the system, it was my philosophy. I didn't understand money, and worse, I didn't respect it. The day that changed was the day I made a decision. I would stop complaining about rich people and start studying them. I discovered that the wealthy think differently. They don't see money as something to chase. They see it as something to attract through value, discipline, and service. If you want to reprogram your mind for wealth, start by changing your conversations, especially the ones you have with yourself. Every morning, tell yourself, I create value, and wealth flows to me. Repeat it until your mind believes it. The subconscious is powerful. It obeys what you consistently feed it. Next, stop criticizing those who've achieved success. Envy blinds you. Study opens your eyes. Ask yourself, what did they learn? What did they do? And how can I apply that? Finally, build respect for money. Track every dollar. Know where it goes and what it does. Awareness is the beginning of control. You can't master what you ignore. The moment you begin treating money like something that deserves order and attention, it begins responding to you differently. Wealth isn't about luck or magic. It's about mental conditioning. The poor let money control their emotions. The rich control money with their minds. Reprogram your thoughts, and your circumstances will follow. Because you don't get rich by chance, you get rich by change. Discipline is the foundation upon which every great life is built. Without it, all your dreams, your goals, your ambitions, they're nothing more than wishes. The truth is, success doesn't come from doing extraordinary things once in a while. It comes from doing ordinary things consistently, long enough for them to compound into something extraordinary. Most people wait for motivation. They wait for the perfect moment. But motivation is fickle, it comes and goes. Discipline, however, is reliable. It's the muscle that shows up even when you don't feel like it. I remember when I was first trying to turn my life around. I wanted success, but I wasn't willing to build the habits that success required. I would get inspired for a few days, then fall right back into comfort. It wasn't until I realized that every act of discipline, no matter how small, was a seed of freedom, that everything began to change. Discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. That saying became a guiding principle for me. Because regret, my friend, is heavy. It keeps you up at night, wondering what could have been if you had only done the work when it mattered most. If you want to turn discipline into your default setting, start small. Set fixed times for reading, for exercise, for reflection. Protect those times like they're appointments with your future, because they are. You don't have to start with hours, start with minutes. It's not about how long you do it, it's about how consistently you do it. When you keep promises to yourself, something powerful happens, your self-respect grows. And when your self-respect grows, you no longer tolerate mediocrity from yourself or anyone else. Don't reward yourself only for results. Reward yourself for consistency. Because results will come later, but discipline has to come now. Most people quit because they don't see immediate progress. But progress hides in the daily effort, and one day it shows up all at once. Discipline is not punishment, it's preparation. It's not a restriction, it's the foundation of freedom. The person who controls his habits controls his future. When you make discipline your default setting, success stops being an event and becomes a lifestyle. And once that happens, wealth has no choice but to find you. One of the greatest shifts you can ever make in your life is to replace entertainment with education. Most people spend their days seeking escape rather than improvement. They fill their minds with noise, television gossip, endless scrolling, and then wonder why their dreams seem so distant. The truth is simple: your income rarely exceeds your level of education, not the formal kind, but the self-education that happens when no one's watching. When I was broke, it wasn't just my wallet that was empty, it was my mind. I had time, but I spent it on the wrong things. I was majoring in minor things. Then I learned something that changed everything. If you want life to get better, you have to get better first. That meant I had to stop feeding my mind junk and start feeding it strength. I began by turning off the television. That glowing box in the corner wasn't paying my bills, it was keeping me broke. So I replaced 1 hour of TV with 1 hour of study. It didn't seem like much at first, but over time, that 1 hour became a library of wisdom. I listened to successful people, I read their books, I studied their philosophies, and slowly I began to think like them. Entertainment makes you feel good in the moment. Education makes you powerful for life. Most people say they don't have time to learn, but the truth is, they have time, it's just spent in the wrong places. The average person spends hours every week in their car, yet few think to make it a classroom. I did. I filled those drives with audiobooks and seminars, and I turned every trip into a journey toward wealth. That's what I call personal university. It's not about cutting out all fun from your life, it's about balance. Ask yourself, how much time do you spend consuming compared to creating? How many hours do you invest in your growth versus your entertainment? The person who chooses education over distraction becomes unstoppable. Because while others are watching someone else's dream, you're building your own. So if you want to change your finances, start by changing what feeds your mind. Replace entertainment with education. And soon you'll realize your thoughts are your greatest investment, and your future is the return. Every morning gives you two choices to create or to consume. One moves you closer to wealth. The other quietly steals it. Most people start their day by consuming. They wake up, check their phones, scroll through other people's lives, and fill their minds with noise before they've even made their first move. That's how the average day begins for the average person. But the ones who rise above, the ones who build wealth, impact, and legacy, they start by creating. Because creation is the foundation of prosperity. You see, wealth doesn't come from what you take in, it comes from what you put out. Every book written, every product built, every idea shared, these are acts of creation. They're seeds planted into the world, and over time, they grow into opportunity, influence, and yes, financial reward. When I first started learning about success, I realized I had spent most of my time consuming the work of others, listening, watching, reading, but not creating anything of my own. And then it struck me, if I wanted to stand out, I had to produce, not just participate. So I made a rule for myself: the first hour of my day belongs to creation. Before the phone rings, before I read the news, before the world's opinions crowd my mind, I create. Maybe I write a few pages, make a call, plan a talk, or learn something new I can teach later. That single habit changed the direction of my entire life. Because once you start your day by creating, you set the tone for ownership, not reaction. You become a builder of your world, not just a visitor in someone else's. Most people don't realize how much time consumption steals from them. One video becomes 10, one article becomes an hour, and soon the day is gone. That's why discipline is the gatekeeper of wealth. You have to protect your creative energy. Limit your consumption until you've created something valuable that day. Whether it's an idea, a product, or even progress toward a goal, make sure you leave a mark. The world remembers creators, not consumers. So don't wake up to see what everyone else is doing. Wake up to create what no one else has yet imagined. Because when you start your day as a creator, you're no longer waiting for opportunity, you're building it. Money is one of the greatest servants in the world, and one of the worst masters. It can build empires, feed nations, and give you freedom, or it can make you restless, greedy, and blind. The difference lies in who's in control. I've seen people who had little but lived with peace because they ruled their money with discipline. And I've seen others with abundance who lived in constant anxiety because their money ruled them. Wealth isn't just about having more, it's about mastering the tool that multiplies it, money itself. When I was young, I thought money was something to chase. I believed that once I had enough of it, I'd finally be in control. But I learned something surprising. If you can't manage $1, you won't manage 1,000. And if you can't manage 1,000, 1,000,000 will destroy you. The habits of control, order, and purpose start long before wealth arrives. The key is to give every dollar an assignment. Every dollar you earn should have a destination, a reason for existing. Some dollars go to work through investments, some are sent to savings, and others are allowed for enjoyment. But none should wander aimlessly. Because money without direction becomes a master that whispers, "Spend me now, think later." To make money your servant, automate its discipline. Let your savings and investments move before your emotions do. Build a system that protects your future before your impulses get a chance to interfere. Track your spending weekly, not to restrict yourself, but to stay conscious. Awareness is power. When you see where your money goes, you start to see where your life goes. I remember once buying something I didn't need, simply because I could. It didn't take long before I realized that luxury without purpose is just another form of debt. Not financial, but emotional. So I built a rule: before any purchase, I wait 24 hours. If I still want it the next day, I'll consider it. If not, I've just saved both money and mind. The goal isn't to serve money, it's to make money serve you. To work while you sleep, to buy back your time, to fund your vision. Master money early, and it will quietly build the life you desire. Ignore it, and it will become your master, demanding your time, your peace, and eventually your freedom. Gratitude and vision, those are two of the quietest forces that shape great success. Gratitude keeps your spirit clean, and long-term vision keeps your direction clear. Most people never reach the wealth they dream of because they live in emotional extremes. Too high when things are good, too low when they're not. But the secret to consistent progress is balance. Gratitude roots you in the present, and long-term thinking pulls you toward the future. Without those two working together, life becomes reactionary, chasing results instead of building them. When I first began to change my life, I discovered that gratitude wasn't just a moral virtue, it was a discipline of awareness. I started ending my day by writing down 3 wins, small or large. Some days, it was closing a deal. Other days, it was simply keeping a promise to myself. What I found was that this habit began to rewire how I saw progress. Instead of focusing on what I lacked, I started noticing how much I had already gained. That shift in focus fuels your spirit when things move slowly. Because let's be honest, wealth doesn't appear overnight. It's built quietly, through hundreds of small disciplines that compound over years. Now, while gratitude keeps you grounded, long-term vision gives you wings. You need both. Gratitude reminds you not to waste what you have, and vision reminds you not to settle where you are. Each week, review your goals, not to obsess over how far you have to go, but to remind yourself why you started. When you keep your long-term purpose in front of you, you make wiser short-term choices. You'll spend differently, work differently, even think differently. Because when your horizon stretches beyond today, impatience begins to fade. I remember once hearing someone say, "It takes decades to build overnight success." That's true. You may not see much change in a day, but in 10 years of consistent effort, the results become undeniable. Gratitude helps you stay faithful in the small things, and vision helps you keep walking even when progress feels invisible. Wealth is built in decades, not days, and the ones who make it are those who stay thankful for every step and patient for the next. Gratitude builds the heart, vision builds the empire. Together, they build the life you deserve. Confidence is not magic, it's mathematics. It's the sum of small disciplines multiplied by consistent learning. You see, most people try to talk themselves into confidence. They repeat affirmations, pump themselves up, and hope that courage will appear when it's time to act. But confidence doesn't come from guessing or wishing. It comes from knowing. The more competent you become, the more confident you feel. And the good news is, competence can be built, one skill, one lesson, 1 hour at a time. When I started out, I didn't have confidence. I had doubts, fears, and more questions than answers. But I made a simple decision: I would become a student of whatever I wanted to master. Every day, I learned a little more about sales, communication, leadership, and money. And as my knowledge grew, so did my certainty. You see, the mind can't fake what the hands haven't done. Real confidence isn't standing tall and pretending. It's standing tall because you've earned the right to. The strategy is simple: become a master of your craft. Learn one new skill every month, no matter how small. Maybe it's understanding how compounding interest works. Maybe it's learning how to sell better, how to communicate more effectively, or how to negotiate with confidence. Every new skill adds another brick to your foundation of certainty. And over time, those bricks become a fortress of confidence. Track your progress. Celebrate improvement. Don't wait for perfection, reward progress. When you look back and see how far you've come, your belief in what's possible for the future strengthens. And here's the most powerful part: teach what you learn. When you teach, you repeat. And repetition doesn't just deepen understanding, it transforms it into instinct. When you've explained something enough times, it stops being theory and becomes a part of who you are. Confidence isn't built in a moment of success, it's built in the daily habit of preparation. The more you know, the less you fear. The less you fear, the more you act. And the more you act, the more life opens up for you. So don't chase confidence, earn it. Build it with competence, secure it with consistency, and protect it with practice. Because the person who truly knows no longer needs to guess, they simply move with quiet certainty. Patience is the hidden ingredient in every fortune. It's the silent force that separates those who wish from those who build. Everyone wants to be wealthy, but very few want to wait long enough to deserve it. We live in a world that glorifies speed, fast success, fast money, fast fame, but the truth is, anything that comes fast usually leaves the same way. Real wealth doesn't come from quick wins, it grows from compounded effort, disciplined habits, and the quiet passing of time. When I first started in business, I wanted everything to happen now. I thought effort should equal instant results. But life doesn't work like that. It's a process of seasons. You sow in one season, you wait in another, and you harvest in the next. And it's during that waiting season that most people quit. They confuse delay with denial. But patience is not doing nothing. It's doing the right things long enough for them to matter. You have to make peace with time. Set long-term goals, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and then discipline yourself to show up daily. The game of wealth is not won by those who move the fastest, but by those who refuse to stop. When you focus on consistency instead of speed, something powerful happens. Momentum begins to build. Like compound interest, effort compounds too. Every skill refined, every dollar invested, every relationship nurtured, they all begin to multiply quietly behind the scenes. Most people fail because they celebrate too early. They get their first taste of success, and they spend it. They forget that the first profit is not for spending, it's for reinvesting. Every time you choose patience over impulse, you strengthen your foundation. Every time you delay gratification, you expand your future. Patience is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's knowing that the tree that grows slow grows strong. If you can master patience, you can master wealth. Because money, like time, rewards those who respect it. Build steadily, reinvest faithfully, and wait with confidence. While others rush for quick returns, you'll be compounding quietly toward freedom. Remember, the goal isn't to get rich fast, it's to get rich forever. And that requires the patience to become worthy of the wealth you seek. The real secret to wealth is simply, you don't get paid for time, you get paid for value. Time is equal for everyone, but value is not. One person earns minimum wage for an hour, another earns $1,000. The difference isn't in the hour, it's in what they bring to it. If you can learn to make every hour count, to fill it with skill, creativity, and contribution, money will start finding its way to you, not because you chase it, but because you've earned its attraction. I remember when I was working a simple job and earning just enough to get by. I used to think, if only I had more hours in a day. But that's the wrong thinking. You don't need more hours. You need to make your hours worth more. That's where wealth begins. Start by asking yourself a simple question: what problem can I solve that people are willing to pay for? The world pays generously for solutions, not effort. If you can make someone's life easier, their business grow faster, or their pain disappear, you've created value. To do that, you must study your craft. Learn efficiency, learn innovation, and learn people. Every improvement you make in yourself multiplies your earning power. Increase your knowledge, sharpen your communication, master your tools. The carpenter who knows how to build a table earns something, but the carpenter who designs, leads, and teaches others earns exponentially more. It's not about working harder, it's about becoming indispensable. Another truth value is measured by impact, not activity. Just being busy doesn't mean you're valuable. Many people confuse movement with progress, but if your movement doesn't create change, it's wasted energy. So stop counting hours and start counting impact. If you can do something in 1 hour that takes others 3, you've just created value through mastery. Remember, money is only the shadow of value. If you chase the shadow, you'll never catch it. But if you focus on becoming more valuable, more skilled, more reliable, more creative, the shadow will follow you everywhere. So when you wake up tomorrow, don't just go to work, go to create. The goal is not to earn a living, it's to design a life of value. Because the moment you start measuring your worth by your impact, wealth stops being a dream. It becomes your natural reward.